Okay, I'm good. Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof continues to be, and now the live streaming. We are going to cover a part two of a subject that has a lot of controversy, and I really want to. My goal here is to make sure that you guys understand some of these concepts because they can be pretty elusive, and I don't. It's tough because everyone comes from a different place on how they describe stuff, and they have a different definition for something or term or whatever. I want to go through this systematically so we can all be on the same page and really understand mask, okay? But before we get there, I'm going to do some shout outs here. We got some residual questions from last week. I'd like to cover those. I just want to scroll down through them here. It says, which of your courses do you recommend first? I'm not a beginner, but I want to improve my voice. Thank you very much, Ken, for such awesome opportunity for developing. Alina. Well, Alina, believe it or not, even the most seasoned professionals need to understand the foundation. I'm not saying that you're seasoned, and I'm not saying you're a beginner, but most seasoned professionals need to understand the basic foundations and cornerstones to great singing. So we really start there. So you could just either get my standard course, or for very little more money and a lot more information, you could go ahead and get the Pro Bundle, which will take you all the way through the rest of your lifetime. Because even to this day, as you age and things happen in life and you're trying to figure stuff out, this course actually walks you through decades of information. So hopefully that answers your question. Next one, Homer. Homer says, which gives you more improvement, running or just singing to build up your singing? Okay, well, those are two completely different things. Just singing isn't going to necessarily make you good. In fact, it can hurt you. And just running isn't going to help you singing necessarily. And then you're talking about, building up cardio or stamina for just, your strength in your body. So you really want to do exercises that directly relate to your singing to build up stamina. And it's always good to be in shape. You know what I mean? If you're in shape, you have more strength in your body. Of course, then once you apply that to good technique, then you can excel. But it's not one or the other, just singing or that, because you need to know how to sing well in order to be able to improve. So hopefully that answers that. I actually cover this in my singing course, How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. Jacob says, Lane Staley is my vocal inspiration, but I can't sing a lot of his songs because the notes he hits are really high, and I don't think he used any mixed voice. What's a good daily exercise for range? Jacob, that's a good question. You're right, he didn't hardly ever sing in head voice or falsetto. He belted a lot in his upper mid-register. I have, on YouTube, I have 4 or 5 videos out on belting. And then I also have, how to warm up your voice, and I have, how to build up stamina and all these different things. You can either go there and go to free exercises on YouTube just to kind of feel it out, or in my course, I kill it in this area. This is a specialty of mine, so I show you how to really gain that kind of range and what is required to do that, and the kinds of exercises that would help you get to that level of Lane Staley's voice. Kevin says, hi Ken, can tone be improved immediately by adjusting technique? Well, stop there for a second. Kevin, I'm not going to even go to the rest of your question. I'm going to start there. There's no such thing as the word immediately when it comes to developing something that's seasoned over time. So remember that. It's not, gee, is there a quick fix or tip or this or that can get me, where I want to be? No, of course not. It's not true for anything. If you're a bodybuilder, if you're a guitar player, if you're a race car driver, if you want to become a doctor, there's nothing that you can get quick immediately by adjusting technique. So let's now move on to the next part of the question. Or is it time? Is time the only thing that will develop it? Okay, well, time with correct understanding of how to get to the sound and good technique. I think my technique is pretty good, but I still think I sound really bad. Well, if your technique was that good, you probably wouldn't sound really bad. So I'm not sure what you're doing. Kevin, go ahead and post in our singers forums at kentamplinvocalacademy.com. Post a sample of your singing so we can take a listen to it and see what you're doing to know if you're on a good track to get good vocal tone. Mario says, how do you sing mixed voice at very high volume? Well, that's a great question, Mario, because you don't initially. Actually, what you do is you build up your chest voice first. We covered this in one of the webinars here recently. The second thing is you develop a really strong head voice second. Then you very gently fuse those together. And then after a while, when you get enough strength in the sound, you can actually lean into that sound more and more and then get mixed voice at a good high volume. So, and again, I cover this in my course. I have a whole section on mixed voice. June says, is it possible to sing well with dentures? Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Now, I'm going to make a kind of funny comment since Bohemian Rhapsody is out. Freddie Mercury hated his buck teeth. He had these huge buck teeth. So let's make that the equivalent of dentures for a second. He hated it. You can hear a lisp in his singing when he sings, but he covers for it because he understands how not to allow that sound come across the front of his teeth or his buck teeth. So you just have to substitute certain consonants and certain ways that you allow air to come across your dentures in order to do that. I actually don't cover that in my course. That'd be something you'd have to go to, either a personal instruction with me or go online and see if there's any good information on it, but it is absolutely doable. I do it all the time with people that have TMJ, whose jaws have shifted. There's all kinds of things like that we have to work out. Some early shout outs, guys. Hey, my notification squad, rock. Thanks, you guys. You're awesome, and hopefully I'll get to continue to give you quality information. So I just want to say you're awesome. Furious Philip from Calgary is on. Let's see, we've got Steve from Wisconsin. Alex from, where are you from, Alex? Alex doesn't say where she's from. Anyway, oh, Priscilla Saldivar, Priscilla, USA, okay? Marlene from Romania. Hi, Marlene. What time is it over there? It's probably, what, 9 or 10 o'clock at night over there? Okay, cool. Troy is from RZ. Where's RZ? RZ. Russia meets Zimbabwe? I don't know. Anyway, this girl is from Denmark. Belisatrum Marcalo. To control voice, Ken. We're going to get to that. Troy is from Texas. Good to see you, Troy. We got from Russia with love. Okay, yes. Saw that movie back in the late 70s, early 80s. Anyway, I'm your biggest fan. Thank you, Boy Keen. We've got Sansuelness from New Jersey. We got Peter from the Netherlands. Land of Dracula. What's the difference between your old course in 2011 and 2001 2.0 version? Well, I'm trying to be Dracula for a second. Probably about 70% more information and a lot more high fidelity. So we really upped our game in it, and I just took questions that I've had for like the last 5 years, and I tried to clarify those questions in the new 2.0 course to remove as much of the guessing as I can about some of the things we talk about. Missy, Cedar Hill, Montana. Shauna, Maria sings. Good day, Ken, Bob. Okay, so I'm going to get started here, guys. So yeah, we got some awesome guys from Brunel in Asia, etc. I want to discuss some things, and next Saturday actually, I'm going to be covering vocal twang, and I'm piggybacking these together, and I'm running them in concert with each other because there's some similar properties that happen when we're going to discuss this stuff and how to get to good vocal tone and good mask technique and stuff. Now, when I talk about stuff, guys, I want you to understand there are a lot of people that have a lot of different definitions for things. And so I try to clarify the definitions up front, so we're talking apples to apples instead of apples to oranges, and so it removes, again, as much as the guessing game out of this. When we talk about mask, we really are just, first of all, it's called laryngeal forward singing or laryngeal vocal tract forward singing, which means, and by the way, the larynx is just a fancy word for saying your throat. Okay, I mean, there's a little more to it than that. So I've really gone out of my way over the years to not try to use big technical terms and use commonplace terms so people can understand things. So it's just not shrouded in tribal knowledge, and you got to come to me for this information. So when I talk about the pharynx, I want you just to think about your throat and your mouth. Okay, your mouth. I should say mouth, not throat. Sorry, your mouth, your pharynx, your mouth, the way you spread sound or the way you condense sound. Now, so forward placement singing, which is mask, is also has a lot of controversy, and there's a lot of people that will argue mask is in head voice only. Mask is a chest resonant sound where you sing an NG into the face, and they say things. Many coaches will say things. Feel like you're singing through your eyes, or feel like you're having it come across your lips, or all this stuff. And I'm like, holy cow! It's a lot more simple than that. Really, guys, it really is. You sing with a smile. You're just spreading the mouth. And by the way, that's not the only thing. You guys have to track with me on something. We have to start with good open throat technique first. We don't want to just throw sounds in front of the face. So the flavor of the month thing is, twang or mask or this or that or whatever. And those things are helpful and advantageous for certain things, but that's not our only line of defense for singing great and singing with good resonance in the face. Okay, so last session that we did on mask, we talked about shooting the sound into the back and opening up the vowel and having your uvula. I don't know if you can see this. Right? Where the soft palate and the uvula rises. Now, there's even an argument about this. You don't need to do that. You just got to sing, forward, in front, into the mask and drop your tongue. Well, the more space that we can create in our throat, I just want you guys to think about something. Let's pretend for a minute that we have a car that we're putting gas into, the gas tank, right? And there's the valve that you put the gas tank in. If that valve is small, you're only going to get so much gas into that tank. It's going to go psss into that tank. This is the back of the throat. I'm referring to the throat, okay? The more that we can open up that valve in the back, psss, we're going to get a lot of roundness and warmth. So I want to refer to a term called chiaro oscuro. So it means chiaro is the brightness in the center of warmth. And what that is a bel canto term, which means that we want the warmth around the sound. We don't want just the brightness of mask in the face. We want to build a warm vowel sound, but we want it with the ping, the bright ping we've talked about in KTVA that I cover in my course over and over again. And then we want to be able to use that resonance in and out of whatever our registration is. And there's another big controversy. Ooh, registration, where do you use mask? And you'll go over the internet, it's really funny. You'll see people saying, please don't talk about different vocal registrations when you're talking about mask, because mask should be applied straight across the board to all registrations. First of all, that's baloney. Second of all, please don't tell me how to sing if you can't do it yourself. And all these guys that are out there doing it, they're not showing you how to do it, but they're going to tell you from some textbook they read somewhere. So let's back this up for a minute, okay? I have in my description tag, and don't go there now, do it after the webinar, but in my description tag, so her name is, she goes by Disney Diva 7, and I really like her a lot. Her name's Laura, I think, and she did something on the fifth element. Now, what's really interesting about Laura is you can tell she has a pretty gnarly bel canto background because she sings a lot of covered sounds. What does covered mean? It means to darken a sound. Now, we just said chiaro oscuro. We want to get brightness. We want to get the warmth of the sound and brightness in the center. We don't want just shrill and bright, and we don't want it to be so covered that it sounds like we're choking on our vowels. So what she does is she does a song that was originally done on a computer that probably should have been almost impossible to sing. What I want you to do is I want you to look at this video. And what I love about it the most is when you see her go into mask, she looks like Frankenstein. She's like, you could just really see how much mask she's bringing into a sound. When she's in the low end, like a good bel canto would love her. It's not a contemporary sound, and we're going to get to that in a minute when we talk more about mask. But she sings the bottom stuff like a good opera girl, and when she goes up top, she throws down really hard in mask, and she's killer, and her intonation is awesome. So, and I do this a lot in my videos too. I don't know that I'm ever that extreme in the way she brings the sound into the front of the face. But I want you to check it out because the way she does it is the right way to do it. She actually brings the sound back into the throat, drops it down into the front of the face, and then brings the sound forward. Now, we talk about placement and mask, and there's a misnomer there. Placement is vowel placement. Let's not confuse that with pretending that placement comes in the face. Here's what I mean by that. When someone says, sing through your eyes, or, sing through the nose should be, and by the way, we have to be careful of that too in mask because we can bring in a lot of nasality, which is a really ugly sound over time. We really don't want that. We want to use some of that in order to be able to offset some of the air that comes out of the nose and out of the mouth, and then also bring the sound across the lips. Well, I want to do some quick exercises with you guys really fast here because we've done very little in that context, but we're just going to do a couple simple lip drills. By the way, try not to use your hands to do a lip drill. If you have to start that way, that's fine. Get to a place where you can get your face relaxed enough where you're not doing that. The whole point of the lip drill is to be really gentle on how much air you use. Let's remember, early bel canto was if you had a candle, a little small candle, and you were to put it in front of your lips, it would be that you didn't blow out that candle because you're mitigating or controlling the amount of air that's coming out. If you have to go and blow that much air, it's defeating the whole purpose of why we're doing this. Yes, it opens up spaces in the face. Yes, it creates a relaxation response. But in the end, we really want to master just even the warm-up phases of this stuff. So guys and girls, I'm going to actually start a little high for you guys, or you girls, I mean. Guys, I'll bring you down a little lower, and I'm trying to get the mean average of everybody. Let's just do a simple lip drill. Now, if you notice, I'm kind of covering the sound. I'm going, It's not like if I was up the octave. Here I'm kind of bringing the resonance and sound into the front of the face. So as we go through different registrations, we absolutely use different textures and tones and amounts of mask and this and that. It's not a one size fits all. And if anyone tells you that there's one way to do this, they're crazy. Because if you guys remember my video called What the Fox, Vocal Fox, 25 different vocal fox, that everybody's voice is different. So a lyric tenor, for example, is going to actually be a little more ginger and use a little more air on the sound than, let's say, a character baritone or a character soprano or whatever that is. So you have to understand how your own voice works and how you can get into these spaces. But let's continue. Just do this with me, guys. Get your face, bring it up. Notice the higher up I go, I'm shedding the weight, and I'm not darkening or covering the sound as I go up. Let's continue. Notice I'm not using so much air where I go. I'm just using just enough to get the lips to vibrate. Now, for you baritones out there, you're going to feel the tug of wanting to transition into head voice. Now, guys, do you remember what we talked about, what head voice is? We're actually transitioning into falsetto, but I've developed my falsetto so powerfully in a way that I've connected that together in a mesh where I've been able to literally connect one long, powerful note between my head voice and chest voice because I've matched the tonal qualities of my chest voice to where you don't know I'm making this transition, but I am. Even right now as warming up. I haven't warmed up today. This is my first lesson of the day, okay, so I haven't done any warm-ups. So, you hear me kind of go a little bit into mask? You hear me also transition a little bit into head voice? And you think, gosh, Ken, it sounds like your chest voice. It is, because I've combined it. I have a percentage of mixed voice. I can bring all the way from, down to the D, all the way up to an E5. So it's a really huge, wide range of mixed voice. But when I first started out, I can only do one or two notes. Let's get this clear, guys. When I first started out, I'd feel that break coming in. I had to really work through that passaggio to get through that and then start to build strength into the sound. Like the person that just asked the question, how do I get a strong, powerful mixed voice? This is how you do it, okay? Now, this is just the warm-up phase, though. Going ahead, going in here, right? Now, if people ask, hey, Ken, well, so what feeling should I feel in my throat to get even to the lip drill or the burble? And that's a great question because I've had this asked a few times. I think of it as, oh, 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 ooh, ooh, and then back down again, ooh, ooh, oh, on the just coming down to down to the bottom. So listen really closely to this. There's the break, right? Now watch without the break. Now, what I do is when I'm caught between chest and head, we can throw in a quick little H into the sound. Instead of going, alive, we can throw in a little H to force the throat to stay open. And when we get really good at this, we want to back off that H and not use it at all because we don't want that air to dry out the chords. We talked about the overuse of air, okay? We want that bright timbral ping, that it's the la ah that I cover in my singing course. We go over this over and over again. And there's a lot of exercises we want to do, not just this one very simple one. We really want to beat this up over time. We're going to the gym, we're working out. We really want to get strong and powerful on how we approach this. And there's many intervallic scales that you want to do that strengthen this area over and over again. But this is just a great intro to understanding, again, how we get into mask. So do it with me again. And by the way, I'm going to show you different vowels that will cover. I mean cover as in darken, not cover as in do. Okay, so I can show you the difference of what this is supposed to sound and look like and feel like in the throat and face. So forth. Now, if I was doing only mask and not using the open throat technique for vowels, it would sound like this. And we're going to get to that when we get to twang next week. We want it warm. Chiaro or scuro, we want it warm. We want a warm sound with a bright tone, a crystal clear bright tone, with the warmth around it. Stay with me. I'm not going. It's. Can you hear the sound escalate up into the back of the throat and come down into the front of the face? Let me show you what I mean by that. Here's without it. Here's with the warmth. And in my course, I talk about God giving us these cool little amphitheaters in the back of the throat where we hit certain vowel mods, vowel modifications. Remember, we've talked about that. We covered a little bit of that. Again, I have a gob of that in my course, where it's kind of like hitting a note that's soaked in reverb. You know what reverb is, right? So when we go, okay, now I want to show you something else that's really important, very important. I actually have a client who's here in town right now. I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona. Lava ate my homes in Hawaii, as you know. We went to Mexico for a little while. I'm staying in Flagstaff for a bit, and I'm not sure where I'm going next, but I'm here for now. Anyway, this student, I don't want to mention his name, but he's from Canada, so he flew from Canada, and he's kind of doing a small portion of my master's course. And the reason I bring him up is, you know, he has a very large Adam's apple, which is your larynx. You can actually see it. In fact, the voice box or your vocal folds sit inside the larynx, which is this Adam's apple. I want you to pay close attention to mine. Do you see how little movement there is? There's almost no movement at all. Well, that's because I've been able to train my laryngeal position to hold it down either in a lowered position or to allow it to rise to a neutral position. Now, there are times where, like I said before, where I want to be able to sing like with a raised larynx, you know, hey, and I like that. But you do notice it go up? Hey, see it go up, right? Now if I go, hey, it's lowered. You see that? Let me do it again. Hey, it goes up. Hey, it stays in a lowered position, okay? So I've trained myself to understand how to do this. Hey, Ken, how does this relate to mask? All these things matter, okay? All of them. Your support, your relaxation response, the laryngeal position, the open throat technique, contiguous phrase singing, vowel placement, and how, again, we adjust for these things as we're going through. So I promised you that I was going to talk about the vowels themselves. So let's do this now. So if I were to cover a vowel, like we just talked about in the Disney Diva 7 thing on the Fifth Element song. La, 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 right? What I'm doing is I'm darkening the sound. I'm darkening the sound, right? Covering it. If I were to do this exact same vowel in the throat with a contemporary sound, it would sound like this. With mask, but chiaro or scuro, brightness with warmth around it. Hear it instead. Hear the brightness in the sound come in the face. The only thing I'm really doing, guys, is I'm pharyngally spreading the sound, or I'm bringing a smile into the sound, okay? Now, as we've talked about, and again, there is a lot of controversy over this, because this happens at every level. Can I use that when I'm singing low? Allah, 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 Allah. Of course I can. Do I want to sing Allah, 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 Allah? Well, if I'm doing opera, yeah, I do want to do that sound. But if I'm singing something contemporary, I want to bring the sound to the front of the face. Now, another part to this, okay? Very important. When we're singing in mask, mask is a master. It's a killer, awesome way to gain range. Here's what I mean by that. When you cover a sound or darken a sound, unless you're really good at this, you inhibit range. Let me tell you what I mean by that. As you know, we have something called vowel modifications, and we use them to protect ourselves from over-singing a sound within the vocal tract, okay? Now, why this is important. I like to refer to an old movie called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I don't know if you guys have seen that. There's actually Slumdog Millionaire too. It's a cute little movie. It's worth seeing. We get different lifelines within this. We get phone a friend. We get ask the audience. We get 50-50, blah, blah, blah. We get these different lifelines. I like to think of my vowel modifications like a lifeline in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Every time I use it, I've used it. Let me say it again. So if I la, and oo, let's say those are my vowel mods to get me up a food chain. All right, if I've used it, I've closed down a vowel, I've already used it. I'm done. I can move on to the next vowel mod and use it early and continue to do this. The longer I can maintain the integrity of a vowel sound and not have to do that without strain, the more I can increase my range. Now, what you're going to find is that not only is the vowel mod itself important, but how you employ or implement mask in bringing in that sound so that the sound can be pushed forward into the face to relieve that much girth in the throat or thickness in the sound. As we drag that sound up top, we can actually get rid of the weight and bring the sound into the front of the face. Another example of this is, if you guys want to take time to do this, look at some of my videos where I've done on mask. I think like Foreigners I Want to Know What Love is a good example. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Or I'll try to remember to put in the annotations tab. Bob, if you can remind me to do this, to where you can hear the difference of what that is. We've talked about Stevie Wonder last time, and we talked about different people that use different things. Now, to add to the complication of this, and I'm not trying to, again, I like to make things really simple, guys, so know that. But because all of our vocal folds have different sizes, women have half the size of men, and there's all these different vocal fox or characteristics of the voice, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and the way that we train the brightness in this is different. So in other words, if you have a big character, a baritone, for example, or a character, a soprano, they have a big, round, girthy voice, and we have to really work on them to not drag that weight up top. If we have a lyric tenor, or if we have a coloratura that's got a really nice high ping already, we have to actually focus her on not overusing mask and bringing back in the warmth. So in a character, a big voice down low, right, we have to get them to shed the weight as we go up. In like a coloratura, for example, her tessitura and her range, we have to actually keep her from sounding really shrill and we got to get rid of that because we want to bring some warmth back into the sound. Okay, so I love, there's in bel canto and opera, Placido Domingo said something really cool. I'm going to quote him. He actually said it in Italian, but I used Google Translator and I did the best to retranslate it into English. He says, the best advice I can give you, from Placido, is to find a teacher who sounds the way you want to sound. Let me say that again. Placido said this, not just Ken Tamplin. He said, the best advice I can give you is to find a teacher who sounds the way you want to sound. If you find that you do not like your teacher's voice, why would you trust him or her with your own voice? In addition, try to find a teacher that has worked with students that have the same problems and concerns as you. Okay? That's a mouthful, but it's golden information. All right? Now, I'm I'm going to open this up because I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions coming in for this, and I want to be able to answer that, not just be a monologue from me to you. But I really want to emphasize, so we did a lip drill. Now, as we go and employ mask throughout the full spectrum of all the vowel sounds, there's different vowel modifications in how we get to these vowels. I cover all this in my singing course. It would take 40 hours of video time to even go through all this stuff because my course is like 50 hours long or something. It's insane. But I'm giving you the bird's eye view or the overview of how this works to, again, dispel. Mask can happen at any range or register. It usually happens more in the mid-voice register, and then we bring in more mask as we go up top to thin out a sound. It can happen in chest voice, it can happen in mixed voice, it can happen in head voice, or all the above. A lot of times too, when we use mask on the bottom, while the sound itself may not be as pretty because it's really, I don't say brash or shrill in the front of the face, it can also really help us with pitch because it's really unforgiving. When we cover a sound, darken a sound, we can get away with murder when it comes to really finding true intonation. When you employ mask into the sound, you're naked in December's snow. It really showcases where your pitch is at, and you can really determine your a true intonation. So with that said, guys, I want to go ahead and take on some questions here. Let's see here. I got Suresh from India. On topic questions. Here we go. Let's back this up. Katie, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Really? You're local almost to me, huh? I sing in a rock band, and my throat is so sore after gigs. Would learning to sing in mask help this? Well, Katie, first of all, we have to go back to, are you supporting correctly? Are you using too much air? Do you have good vowel modifications, and are you over singing or literally pushing too much air across the chords that could cause that? And then yes, in the end, mask will help if you've mastered these other things first. So I cover this extensively in my course. I'm not just pumping a course, I'm just telling you that's how you get the information. Or just go online and take a look at some of the other vocal warm-ups and things I've done, and some of my free tutorials on vowel modifications and on support and on all these different issues, and it will really bring some clarity to your question. Justin Tucci, I have a wooden African mask. Will that work? No. The concept isn't putting something on your face. The concept is understanding how to bring the sound forward into the front of the face. But interesting question. Jaffer says from Denmark, I thought you said that mask inhibits range. You said so in the Scorpions video. I said the overuse of mask inhibits range. So now let's back this up, Jaffer. And I know who you are. When I talked about Stevie Wonder, I talked about Klaus Meine from the Scorpions, etc. And even Lou Gramm, when you overuse mask and you don't have this nice warm open vowel tones that we're talking about, that can absolutely inhibit range. When you employ the open throat technique with the open vowels and the vowel modifications correctly, and then you employ mask, you actually can get a relief or release from bringing too much girth up to the top. So it says, this topic has been a mystery to me ever since I started. So Jaffer, refer back to what I said. Get your open throat technique together with your vowels first, and then bring in mask as a second line of defense or another way to close down those sounds safely. Delina's Co. How do you sing with nasal polyps? It's very hard to sing in the mask with polyps blocking the sound up. You mean, okay, maybe I should, Bob, if you could remind me, I should probably do a video on this. I know I did a video on polyps and on nodes. In fact, if you look at my video on nodes, but nasal polyps are different because it constricts air in the nose, and then it's very hard to bring that sound into the front of the face. It's possible, but there's a way to do it, and unfortunately you have to actually work on specific vowel intonations, and then it employs a lot of kind of sounds that I don't want other people to do. I only want you with nasal polyps to do it. The big question is, did you have them removed? Are you planning on having them removed? And do you sing with nasality currently? So can you please post something in our singers forum so I could take a listen to what's going on, and then I can better advise you. David Smith, you're amazing. The mask has improved my range. Awesome, David. I'm just going to grab some off-topic questions, guys. This is going to be a fairly short webinar today. Yeah, my cheek muscles are so tense even though I was able to play a trumpet, or trumpet, I think you meant trumpet. Can't doth lips thing anymore. first of all, can I teach you how to type? No, I'm kidding. Second, I think you mean that I was able to play a trumpet and I can't do the lip thing anymore. Well, you might have developed some TMJ in the jaw or something in an area where you have forced a lot of air, especially if you sing play a tenor trumpet, because a lot of people actually tense up their face really hard to get the lips to push across into a trumpet, and that actually can cause a lot of binding up of the face and throat. What I would recommend, it's going to sound kind of silly, take your fingers right here where the jaw connects, the mandible connects right here. I want you to massage this area just like this. Then I want you to come directly under the mandible, the jaw, and start to massage this area all the way in through here. And then I want you to take your fingers, and I know it sounds stupid, but I want you to massage yourself like this, and then go back and try the lip drills again for those of you that play trumpet or a wind instrument like that, where it requires a lot of strength in the face. Renat, can I take the course if I consider singing classical later? Well, my course is based in bel canto, so it's going to help you with both. Do I have to refrain from singing classical repertoire while building my voice with your course? Absolutely not. The only difference that I bring into bel canto is, by the way, just because you study bel canto or arpeggio, it's just like anything, like going to a doctor. There's good doctors and there's not so good doctors. And there's good technique, and in any discipline, whether it's bel canto or pop or this or that, make sure you're getting good instruction first, and make sure that that instruction is legit. Bel canto has a massive range of, from the beginning stages of learning bel canto all the way into some of the advanced stages. Let's remember that a tenor, a young tenor, let's say, that's 12 years old, he's not allowed to touch an aria for somewhere between 2 and 4 years. 2 and 4 years until he's developed his vowel sounds. Well, in my course, what I did was I said, well, that's nonsense because people aren't going to want to take that much time to do this. So I sped up the process of that to help people understand how to get to good, proper placement, vowel placement. And by the way, I covered this exact thing in my last webinar, or excuse me, my last YouTube video on how to sing in any language, is that we base all of what we do off the 5 bel canto vowels first, and then we modify those vowels into more contemporary singing. So you'll start with again classical training initially, and then we'll move on. Now, one more thing that's important to annotate on this is that bel canto is completely opposed to any kind of distressing of the chords. Understandably, that's what it's called. Bel, beautiful, canto or cantor, singing, beautiful singing. They don't want any kind of distortion. They don't want to build any kind of tone or rasp or this or that. They're not looking to bring the sound into the front of the face unless they have to. So we have to contemporize things for whatever style of singing that you want to do. And so I cover this in my singing course as well. Let's see, Ankra, I hope I said that right. Ankra. I have a family in Scottsdale, bright neighborhood. Awesome, that's not too far from where we are. Nika, let's see here. Nika Chandra, hello sir, I love you. You made me learn and do real singing. How many times a day should I practice singing and how long? If more than once, then how long should be the interval? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. Guys, you know, when you go to the gym, you work out once a day. You usually don't go to the gym to work out twice. We need time for our muscles to, again, our whole vocal box, our larynx, our throat, we have arytenoid, cricoarytenoid muscle structure. All these different structures within the throat are a group of muscles, okay? Well, so we do it once a day, and then we let it rest for the next day. We don't want to exacerbate it, do it in the morning, and then try to go the day, and then do it again at night. We want to do one good, strong workout a day so we can maximize our workout. If we do it more than once a day, we actually are tearing down muscle structure, and we're not giving the muscle structure a chance to build up or to rejuvenate, okay? So we do it once. Now, how long? That depends on what stamina that you worked up to. In Katie's case that just came here, Katie, the gal that I've just been posting some videos of, one of my students, she's from Austria. We worked for a solid year on getting her up to doing 2 to 3 hours of workouts every day. Now she does 1 to 4 hours, as you saw in the videos. And that's not including singing. But you got to build up to that or you can hurt yourself. So I recommend if you're just getting started, start with 15, 20 minutes, get a lay of the land, make sure everything's working correctly, move it up to 30, move it up to 40. It's just like picking up weight. you're adding a little more weight to your workout, and then you're growing. And if you get to the point where you start to go hoarse, or you get to the point where you're fatiguing quickly, or you get to the point where the next day you feel like your throat is sore and you're coming, back off, back off, back it up. I do cover this in my course. It's a great question. Thank you for asking, Nico. Gaston, my buddy, I can. I want to ask you, what exactly is the difference between lyrical singing and contemporary in physical terms, in terms of placement? Okay, so there's several answers to the question, Gaston. You and I should have a roundtable on this. Gaston is one of our moderators in the forums, so I'm glad you're asking the question. The term lyrical singer or lyric tenor, or lyric, whatever, lyric soprano has changed over the years, okay? I'm using a more contemporary version of the term because I like to have people have a real clear understanding of it. So in the last session or session before this, we talked about who are lyric tenors, for example, and I brought up Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney would be considered a lyric tenor. He's not a character bass. He's not a character tenor with a big, huge voice. He has a smaller voice, just like John Anderson from the band Yes, or other people with a smaller, what sounds like they're using a little more air. It's a little smaller tubular sound. In fact, we just posted Your Love by The Outfield, and he would be considered a lyric tenor, though he has a little bit more bright ping into the sound. So lyric tenors usually use a little bit more air, and there is a much smaller sound. And it's harder for them to get to a bigger sound, and a lot of them don't even use vibrato. That sounds really weird, but it's true. So if you listen, for example, to, like I said, John Anderson or someone that has that kind of sound, they don't even use vibrato in many times, or in many cases, okay? Gaston, we can talk more about this because there's a lot more to that. So since you're helping people in the forums, I want you to understand this so you can dispense this information in the forums responsibly. This name I can't pronounce because it looks like it must be in Russian, but it says, my vocal coach told me that singing in the back of my throat is wrong. Well, how does your vocal coach sing? Number one. And how many students does he have that's singing? So when you say singing in the back of your throat, think of your throat like an amphitheater, like I said, and you're looking to hit that amphitheater with a resonant sound that's going to project, okay? So if you don't sing from the back of your throat, where do you sing? From the front of your throat? Like this? Huh? Maybe it's supposed to have sound forward. Or, hey, hey! We want a nice big sound in the back. Again, not all information is created equal, and I cover all this in my course, and I wish I could give you more information, and maybe there's a little bit of a language barrier in what he means by the back of the throat compared to what I'm describing. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Galaxy says, let's move too fast. I really appreciate if you can make a video reaction to singer Morissette Ammon. Please, a lot of vocal coaches do reaction on her, but most of them are not senior like you. I'll try to get to that. I actually want to do a lot of other videos, not the least of which is Panic at the Disco and some other stuff like that. So in addition to maybe Morissette. So I'll try to get to that as soon as I can. Will Gordon, hey Ken, my question is, would you be how to sing high notes in short bursts when you can sing? Wow, let's do this one again. All right, guys, we need to get some better typing going on here. Hey, Ken, my question, would you be how do you sing high notes in short bursts when you could get a big breath in time? All right, I think I understand what you're saying. The answer to that is there's two parts to that. Hold on. Someone's calling in. We have a caller. Caller on the air can help you. Someone calling in? Anyway, when we can, we want to take good-sized breaths so that we can maintain enough amount of air in the lung. Remember, we've talked about half to 3/4 of air in the lung, and get the snap of air out of the diaphragm or the whole abdominal cavity. When you're singing quick phrase stuff, you take quick hits. Hey, 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 hey. Now, I have a whole section in my singing course on this where I have an exercise. Right? And you actually literally are taking these really short breaths in order to be able to accommodate both. So ideally, in a perfect world, you want to get the biggest breath you can to hold a nice legato phrase when you need it. And if you need to do it to short bursts of singing like that, you do it exactly like I just showed you. I'm going to take one more question, guys. Jason, regarding pharyngeal spread to achieve mask, can spreading too far create soreness? Yes, it can. Good question. I was trying not to over sing, but ended up sore, so I took a break with a darker sound to get less sore. you can absolutely overextend the pharyngeal spread. So we really don't want to go like this. We just, hey, it's just a smile. Not because if we do that, then we actually close off the trachea as we go up. You're going to find, and that's actually one of the things that Jaffer had asked about a while ago, is that the air pipe, your trachea, you can close that off if you spread too much and too wide as we go up. So it actually is cutting off air supply. So I want to get to that ah, or a variation of that ah that we've discussed. All vowel sounds stem from it's the la ah. We don't want to spread that sound because the sound splats or becomes top heavy and it becomes too unmanageable and too wide to control. So anyway, I just want to give you guys the best possible information that I can. God bless all you guys. If there's questions that I missed, I'll pick them up at the beginning of the next session next time. Next week, stay tuned because we're going to get into twang. And there's a big controversy over twang, and everyone's racing to go into twang. And twang is not all what you think it is, though it does have value. We need to understand and put it in its proper perspective. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining me, Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy of the Proofs in the Singing. Hopefully this information was beneficial to you. God bless all you guys. Until next time, peace out.